My God, I hate drugs.
A high-level visit of an American official is once again raising the question, will the U.S. help the Philippines if it is attacked in the South China Sea? At the center of this issue is a long-standing mutual defense treaty which states that both countries would help each other in case of an armed attack in the Pacific. Yesterday, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, like other American officials before him, reaffirmed his country's commitment to the treaty as he warned about the threat posed by China's reclamation activities in the disputed waters.
As an island nation, the Philippines depends on free and unobstructed access to the seas. China's island building and military activities in the South China Sea threaten your sovereignty, security, and therefore economic livelihood, as well as that of the United States. As the South China Sea is part of the Pacific, any armed attack on Philippine forces, aircraft, or public vessels in the South China Sea would trigger mutual defense obligations under Article 4 of our Mutual Defense Treaty.
This as two cabinet members disagree over the need to review the treaty. Defense Secretary Lorenzana wants to clarify certain provisions in the 68-year-old agreement, such as the so-called lag time of U.S. response to attacks, as well as the definition of the term attack. But Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin says the agreement is fine as it is. Still, Lorenzana confirms he will meet with U.S. Deputy Assistant for Defense Joe Felcher this month for what he calls exploratory talks on the review of the treaty. Malacanang assures the public that loan agreements between China and the Philippines do not carry high interest rates. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo says the interest rates imposed on Chinese loans are similar to those on loans from Japan. He adds Chinese loans are fixed and do not change over time. This is in response to senatorial candidate Nery Colmenares' allegations that the 3.6 billion peso loan from China for the Chico River project was one-sided and came with a hefty interest rate. A senator wants to impose stiffer penalties against hospitals that refuse to discharge patients for failing to pay their medical bills. Our Tristan Nodalo has more.
The birth of baby Amira is considered as the best thing that ever happened to Jan Mau's family. A much-anticipated event met with joy, rudely cut short because the baby was born premature and needed medical attention.
Pagkagising ko po, hirap na sa huminga, namumutla na siya. Pinasikaso naman po nila, nag-cardiac arrest siya, for 10 minutes na wala siya. Hindi ko na naisip yung mga gagastusin eh. Ang inisip ko na lang po is yung kaligtasan ng anak ko.
When her newborn's medical crisis was over and a discharge order had been released, Jan Mau faced yet another challenge, the staggering hospital bill.
Hindi po kami pinayagan lumabas kasi po kulang daw po yung pambayad namin. So nakiusap po ako na baka pwede mag-promissory note or something na kung ano bang pwede namin magawa doon. Tinanong po kami kung meron kaming property na pwedeng ibigay for collateral. Sabi ko po wala kasi wala po talagang property.
From almost 170,000 in January when the discharge was given, the hospital bill has since ballooned to 300,000 pesos.
Hindi po namin kayang mabuo yung 300,000 pesos. Talaga pong sasabihin ko na hindi talaga namin kaya.
Senate Committee Chair on Women and Children Risa Hontiveros wants to put an end to involuntary detention of patients for their failure to pay medical expenses.
Hospitals are supposed to be places of healing. They're not supposed to be places of imprisonment. So my anti-hospital detention bill would prohibit detaining because of full or partial inability to pay the bill.
Should the bill be approved, it will increase penalties for hospital violators and establish an anti-hospital detention fund for poor patients.
It will provide initially a 1 million peso fund for the Department of Health to settle the bills of those who cannot settle those or fully settle those.
For now, Jan Mau can only hope for the compassion of hospital officials so that her bundle of joy can finally sleep in their home.
Yung feeling ko na gustong-gusto mo na siyang may uwi kasi mas ang iniisip mo mas maaalagaan mo siya ng mabuti sa bahay. Hindi mo po magawa kasi hindi kayo makalabas ng ospital.
CNN Philippines is reaching out to the concerned hospital, the health department, and private hospital association. They have yet to respond to our requests.
The concerned hospital says it will issue a statement after a full and thorough investigation of the case. Malacanang says it will not get in the way of the Justice Department as it goes after health officials involved in the Dengvaxia controversy. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo says they welcome the developments, adding those facing charges now have an opportunity to defend themselves. On Friday, the Justice Department found probable cause to charge former Health Secretary Janet Garin and 9 other officials with reckless imprudence resulting to homicide over the Dengvaxia mess. More than 100 deaths have been linked to the anti-dengue vaccine. But experts say there is no proof yet that the vaccine caused those deaths. If convicted, those charged may face up to 6 years imprisonment. In just a few hours, the TANDANG SORA flyover and the intersection below will be closed to traffic. It will remain closed for the 2-year construction of the MRT-7. Our correspondent Paulo Barcelon is in TANDANG SORA, Quezon City for the latest. Paulo, what are you seeing there?
Barely 5 hours before the closure of the TANDANG SORA flyover and the intersection, traffic is light today, now that it's rush hour and a Saturday, along Commonwealth Avenue's eastbound and westbound lanes. Now, as you can see behind me, this is the starting point of the TANDANG SORA flyover. Traffic is at light to moderate on the flyover, but when you go down to the intersection, traffic is light but with an occasional buildup due to the stoplight. Now, this whole traffic scheme will change once the intersection and the flyover will be closed starting 11 o'clock tonight. By then, those coming from TANDANG SORA can no longer cross directly towards Commonwealth Avenue. The 2 innermost lanes on eastbound and westbound roads of Commonwealth Avenue will be closed to give way to the construction of the MRT-7. Now, the closure is expected to affect some 100,000 motorists traversing Commonwealth Avenue every day until 2020 or until the MRT line is complete and operational. Mai?
Paulo, due to the closure, which areas should we expect monstrous traffic jams or bottlenecks? Where will all these vehicles go?
Well, 2 roads can possibly become traffic bottlenecks according to our roving earlier this afternoon. Those are parts of Luzon Avenue and Congressional Avenue extension. Now, on the traffic on the foot rather, of Luzon Avenue is already heavy, but we should expect heavier traffic situations once the closure has started because trucks pass through this route. Now, on the case of Congressional Avenue, when we passed there earlier, traffic was also slow moving. In fact, we also spotted several vehicles parked alongside the roads or on the roadsides. This despite clearing operations done by authorities in the past weeks to ensure that motorists would have clear and a fast alternate route as a result of this closure of the intersection and flyover,
So are signages for the alternate routes already posted? Are they clear and easy to understand?
Some of the signs were not clear and easy to understand. They were they were small. Some of the signs were small and they were not perched on higher sign posts. But there are already signs pointing to alternate routes, one in particular near Luzon Avenue, instructing motorists to turn right to Luzon Avenue. There's also another sign that informs motorists that the New Era General Hospital's entrance has also been moved.
Paulo, construction of the MRT-7 will take 2 years. When will they start demolishing the flyover?
Well, according to MMDA General Manager Jojo Garcia, demolition of the TANDANG SORA flyover will happen by mid-March. There are no specific details yet given as to when the bridge will be demolished, but we haven't seen any construction equipment moving towards the TANDANG SORA flyover. There are, however, concrete barriers on the side of the flyover, but there's no heavy equipment yet. Another point of interest here, is that the flyover, the TANDANG SORA flyover, also contains a footbridge underneath. That it's still unclear whether or not that footbridge will be demolished as of this moment, but it will definitely be affected.
All right, thank you. Paulo Barcelon reporting to us live from Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. Now, our Cheska Buencamino gives us the alternate routes that will be open for motorists.
That's right. An estimated 100,000 vehicles will be diverted to nearby roads due to the closure. MMDA says from Tandang SORA, vehicles are advised to take Commonwealth Avenue, head on to the U-turn slot near Microtel, then right on Katipunan Avenue to their destination. While for motorists coming from Katipunan Avenue, make a right on Commonwealth Avenue, then drive towards the U-turn slot near CW Home Depot, and turn right on Tandang SORA to their destination. Also, motorists can choose to take Commonwealth Avenue onto Luzon Avenue, then left on Congressional Avenue Extension. The Tandang SORA flyover and the intersection below will be closed to make way for the ongoing construction of the MRT-7. Back to you.
Aside from the horrendous traffic it's going to cause, business owners and public utility drivers are worried about the loss of income due to the closure of the Tandang SORA flyover. Our Rex Domitio tells us more.
Everything is all set for the closure of the Tandang SORA flyover and intersection along Commonwealth Avenue. Construction workers are busy round the clock inside and outside the MRT-7 rail and the planned Tandang SORA station. This is just a preview of what's going to happen here in the next 2 years for the sake of progress the government is promising. But for some motorists, they have yet to experience the kind of sacrifice and investment the government wants them to bear. Delivery van driver Noriel De Joseph regularly brings tube ice for a restaurant near the intersection. De Joseph says he has no choice but to follow what the government wants. He also says he has yet to know the alternate routes.
Magiging traffic po yan. Pero tsaka mahihirapan na po yung mga dumadaan sa sakyan.
Jeepney driver Elmer Larita, meanwhile, is also concerned on how the anticipated heavy traffic will affect his daily income.
Kasi ang layo niyan, ang layo doon. Kung dito diretso lang, mas maginawa sa amin. Kung iikot ng ganun, malayo, konsumo sa diesel. Ganun pa kalayo, iikot pa ganun.
That's why taxi driver Andrew Arce says he will avoid this area or else it might cause him shortage of income and boundary payment for the taxi owner.
Siyempre, magsasara yan. Mata-traffic. Ayaw namin ma-traffic. Siyempre, namamasada kami.
Longtime barker Emmanuel Selvio meanwhile says he has no choice but to be flexible just for him to make ends meet.
Wala, sabay tayo sa agos, ganun pa rin. Jeep na lang tatawagan natin. Kasi wala yung buhay namin dito eh.
It seems not only those who are making their living on the road are affected, but also the nearby businesses. One of them is a nail spa beside Tandang SORA Avenue, worried about its loyal customers.
Baka makatama rin na sila pumunta dito. Hindi na po sila makapunta dahil sara na yung daanan po.
But for the New Era University student Maria Belen Alnamit, she says she has to make her own adjustments.
Actually sir, medyo nag-worry ako ng konti kasi baka malilate na ako. Pero dahil sa ikagaganda naman sir, sacrifice na lang and then agahan ko na lang umalis para hindi ako malate sa school.
And for the Joseph, who is expecting to spend a longer time on the road, says if it's necessary for everyone's brighter future, then so be it.
Magiging maluwag naman yan pag natapos ito. Yung kagandahan po yan. Taste na lang din po.
Officials are still investigating if the so-called MOMO challenge caused the death of an 11-year-old boy. Some media organizations have called the online craze a hoax. Meanwhile, how do we protect our children from falling victim to dangerous apps? Our correspondent Caroline Bonquin has more.
Does the suicide killer game MOMO exist? Authorities in the Philippines say they don't yet have proof that the video challenge is real. MOMO Challenge is a game supposedly involving a scary doll-like figure which asks users to do challenges involving self-harm. The Information and Communications Technology Department has formed a task force involving the police, justice and social welfare departments to look into the case of an 11-year-old boy who is said to have committed suicide because of the MOMO Challenge.
This is not going to be a criminal investigation, no? Because there is no complaint. There is no complaint of any crime yet, no? But even in the absence of a complaint, the police will, for public safety purposes, try to get the cooperation of the parents so that whatever evidences that can be gathered, no, on the cell phone that was alleged to be the cause of, to be the access of the victim to the MOMO challenge, can be really scrutinized, no? And then whatever other links that are there, or names of friends that are there, and other information, so that we can also warn the others that please check the gadget of your children, and if this appears, then warn, have your child remove this in their gadget.
While they can't yet say if MOMO is a hoax, officials tell parents it's better to be proactive.
We have been monitoring several challenges in the past. No? We have the blue whale challenges, we have the in my feeling challenges. Yung in my feeling, talagang may namatay dun na, you know, people get out of their car and start doing crazy things.
The government will release video reminders and send text blasts about the MOMO challenge and importance of digital parenting. Digital parenting tips include turning on device settings and parental controls for devices, actively monitoring child's internet activity, and reporting and blocking distressing and harmful content or applications.
If they observe any abnormal change in behavior of their children, talk to them, no? Find out what is the cause. And in that talking to them, then meron ka bang pwede ko makita yung iyong cellphone.
Officials also suggest installing applications which would allow parents to see all websites being accessed by their children.
This is the newsroom on CNN Philippines. Our top stories. Heavy traffic looms as a closure of the TANDANG SORA flyover and intersection begins tonight. This is to give way to the 2-year construction of the MRT-7. The MMDA estimates more than 100,000 daily commuters will be affected by the closure.